So, welcome guys to another video. Kenji just left me with this paper right here and he told me to read it. It's not his though, it's by one of his friends, a user at Reddit by the name of Revisor007. It's concerning the gaming industry, so I'm kind of interested to find out myself. So, what happens is, IO Interactive, Paradox, Techland, and Wooga becomes Women in Games corporate ambassadors. Women in Games is recruiting a number of corporate as well as individual ambassadors to support the growth of the Women in Games organization, to help the organization increase the reach and scale of its programs, and help it achieve the strategic goals of doubling the number of women in games over 10 years. Wow, that's quite a goal you got there. The first four founding corporate ambassadors are IO Interactive from Copenhagen, Denmark, Paradox Interactive from Stockholm, Sweden, Techland from Wroclaw and Warsaw, apologies for the mispronunciation there, Wooga from Berlin, Germany. Nicola Nielsen, Human Resources Manager at IO Interactive, commented, "We are delighted to be able to support women in games and help promote diversity in our wonderful industry to the next generation of game creators. This is a great initiative and one we are very passionate about." Paulina Basta, Head of Human Resources at Techland, commented, "Techland is very proud to be a part of this Women in Games initiative. Diversity and inclusion topics are very close to our hearts, and we are eager to promote the idea in our company and our part of the world." So we have the developers of Hitman, the developers of Stellaris, Europa Universalis, Crusader Kings, the developers of Dying Light and Dead Island, and the developers of a bunch of mobile games to be the ambassadors and supporters of this organization called Women in Games. David Smith, founder of Women in Games, said, "Women in Games is delighted to partner with these four founding corporate ambassadors. We look forward to working with these companies to further diversity across Europe in the months and years ahead." So you're going to make the gaming scene to have more women in them. That's nice. I mean, the gaming industry is getting bigger and bigger. Women can be more than just your typical programmers. They can be production assistants, artists, animators, voice actors, 3D modelers, writers. I know, it's Shirobako. It's an anime about characters making animes. How about this? Character designer. Happy now? There already are women in gaming for years. So women in gaming. How are you going to bring women into the gaming industry? Women in games jobs, not the same as Women in Games apparently, is a quote-unquote not-for-profit network that seeks to recruit more women into the games industry by promoting role models and giving encouragement and information to those women seeking to work in games. It also campaigns to make the games industry a lot more attractive field to women, both for new entrants and to retain women already working in the industry. So, let's get through this one by one. First, you give information to those women seeking to work in games. Now, before you guys say is it like programming training or 3D modeling training? This is a recruitment agency. It's not an educative establishment. So when they say information, what they meant is job opportunities for women that are already trained and is ready for the gaming industry. At least that's what I assume. But your goal is to bring more women into gaming. Just encouraging them isn't enough. You're going to need them to be trained. If you're going to provide information, at least provide some decent information on where they can get education on game development. Also, encouraging them by making it a more attractive field and promoting role models. Is this a recruitment agency or a baby daycare center? Now, I would have wanted to get through more information to this actual site. However, the actual site is down. I cannot access it. I can't access it through VPN. I can't access it through mobile data. I can't access it through the cafe's Wi-Fi, my campus's Wi-Fi, my house's Wi-Fi. They're all down. The site of an organization that just recently got support from 3 big game companies is currently down. Might want to get your maintenance there, guys. If you can somehow get a hold of this site at this current time in September, please archive it at archive.is. The one that I got in the Reddit post was in around June, which thank God Google Web Cache. Let's browse in to the site and see if we can find something that is remotely close on bringing women into gaming. Gaming industry employment in the UK now over 10,000, 2,000 women making games. Creative Skill Sets Employment Census 2015 for games and other creative media sectors have now been published, and there is good news for the games industry. Games is now the 4th largest employer after TV, film, and radio, and the workforce at 10,300, doubling in the size since the last survey in 2012. The games industry employs the fewest women in the creative media sector, but has seen remarkable growth in recent years at 19% of the workforce 2,000 employees compared to 40% of 800 in 2009. So that is almost 1/5 of the gaming workforce as women. And it's a remarkable growth. I'd say congratulations on that. We got women to be interested in the video games. It's almost like video games are getting more mainstream or something. Representation of Black, Asian, and minority ethnic (BAME) group remains disappointingly low at 4.0% or 400 people. But this is not dissimilar to 3 other sectors: film, post-production, and animation, which all employ 1 in 20 people of color or less. This compares with the UK average for BAME employees all across industries of 10% or 1 in 10. yeah, 10% is 1 in 10. We know, okay? Anyway, this site expresses disappointment of how low the representation of Black, Asian, and minority ethnic or BAME. Wow. There's an abbreviation for that now? Like, what's wrong with people of color? Okay, there are multiple wrongs with people of color. What's wrong with just people? For a site that talks about women in gaming, you sure spend your time talk about representation and diversity a lot instead of, gaming. The Creative Skill Set Employment Survey has its own article down below. Let's check that one out. This article is also highlighting the importance of BAME, Black, Asian, minority ethnic, as if that's the most important thing that the gaming industry really needs. Like, can I just stop for a moment and ask, what's the impact of bringing more Black, Asian, minority ethnic in the gaming industry? Because from what I've seen, the impact is none other than, the gaming industry is not populated with white people now. Like, okay, you can replace these white people with more and more Black, Asian, minority ethnics, but what kind of influence would that bring into the gaming industry? I really cannot see the positive impact or the negative impact or the impact. We just have more women, more Black people, more Asians, more minorities. So, that doesn't make the games that they make better. It doesn't make the game any worse either, but still, it doesn't affect anything. Oh, and comments are closed for every article. Now, you might see that the site gives highlights to 9 things that are concerning women. Let's just read one of them. The game industry continues to employ the fewest women in creative media sector, but the growth in recent years is remarkable, with almost 2,000 now making games compared to 400 in 2009. They're insanely dedicated on bringing women into the gaming industry. They're downright obsessed. Like, they have to point statistics of how much women in the gaming industry, and they wanted to double the workforce, which is the next year. We're probably going to get half of the women in the gaming industry. However, giving them the job is not enough, because there are tons of women who are not ready for the industry, and they need the proper education to actually get through it. Anyway, this Women in Games organization has tons and tons of branches in so many different places around the world. I mean, good thing, right? I mean, that would bring more women into gaming, not only in the UK, but in the entire world. Except this Games Jobs website has the same layout as Women in Games website. And I'm not talking just one, I mean all of them. Not only that, but Kenji's friend here did a reverse IP search and find out that they're all hosted at the same company in a neighboring IP, probably from one machine. Now, if you scroll down below, all of these Games Jobs and Women in Gaming websites have a similar copyright notice. Copyright DS Interactive Ltd. What is DS Interactive? Again, I want to access it, but the website does not work. So here's the archive link. DS Interactive is a specialist recruitment and media group within the interactive entertainment and gaming sectors. The group is the brainchild of David W. Smith, chartered accountant and entrepreneur who founded the first 3 companies in his bedroom in Clapham, London, UK in 1996. The current group comprises 9 limited companies and over 200 domain names, supporting 8 recruitment and media businesses in the computer games, computer hardware, computer software, etc., etc. What are the companies that this DS Interactive has made or associated with? Recruitment, interactive selection, game contractor, games job board, media, games job news, game tester, women in games jobs. So Women in Games Jobs is a media project of David Smith's recruitment business. Now, the reason why I find this very suspicious is that this nonprofit organization is funded by big game companies. So they go off into these big game companies and tell them, hey, we need more women in the gaming industry. We will provide you more women in the gaming industry by this nonprofit organization. Will you fund our quote-unquote not-for-profit organization? There are 3 problems with this. 1, while women are lacking in the gaming industry, they don't really show the impact of having more women in the gaming industry or even less women in the gaming industry. Like, the only reason is for diversity's sake, which is not a good reason. It won't give any impact or contribution into the gaming industry at all. 2, we don't really know how would women in games bring more women into gaming. They don't really specify what information means. Are you gonna find jobs for women in the gaming industry? Are you gonna find educational centers for women to be educated for the gaming industry? That's nice, but I would prefer if you don't exclusively target that to women, because there are tons of men looking for jobs in the gaming industry as well. And I still don't get how encouragement or giving role models actually contribute on bringing more women into gaming. Like, you're assuming that women are children that needs to be catered to. This is not professional in any forms of way. Again, this would have been so much better if you just illustrate, specify what you do as a nonprofit organization. Either you give information about job opportunities or you give information about possible educational or training centers. It would be so much better. But instead, they have to go for this description, which I disagree, and your site is down. So I can't find any more info on this. And 3, this nonprofit organization is clearly linked into a recruitment agency, which is definitely for profit. So what I assume happens here is they took the money out of the funding that goes in Women in Games, which is a non-profit organization, the money that comes from big game developers, and they're probably going to use that money on another business that is for profit. I personally find this very suspicious, but this is coming from Kenji and his friends, so expect things to get a little bit controversial. I want to give credits to anyone who finds this, and I'm not jumping into any conclusions, by the way. I'm just trying to give in details and the facts that I found here and my personal assumptions to it as well. Not conclusions. I'm not saying that this is fraud or something, racketing or something. I'm not. I'm just showing you the facts. You guys just need to decide it yourself down in the comments below. If you think that I did something wrong or maybe there are additional information, let me know in the comments below. I definitely appreciate it. Now, since we're discussing about women in games, I really want you guys to know, comment below this video and tell these people how to do it right. How would you think is the best way to bring more women in gaming? Let me know in the comments below. In my opinion, women are already playing games, and that's amazing, but I don't want to force women to join into this industry or this community unless they really want to, or unless they're passionate about it. I still don't see how gaming's male-dominated industry, quote-unquote, is a huge problem that we need to fix. Did anyone complain when Directioner is a female-dominated community? No, they don't. And it's not an issue when that happened. So why is it an issue now? I don't know. You tell me. That is also a good question to ask. Guys, thank you so much for all the crazy support that you've given me like the past few days. Like, I can't believe that I almost had 8,000 subscribers. I really wish I can get through one that day. As usual, that's all for the video today. If you like this, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more. If you wish, you can support me on Patreon. And thanks for watching.